Cute ad. Hello, welcome to our last panel on gaming day. I'm Steph, and I'm going to be the MC and part of the panel, so I'm stoked about that. This is Cutscenes and Cupcakes Live. We are raising money for the Juvenile Diabetes Research Foundation. You can donate here at givebutter.com/UtarMoteCon2. And we're also giving away a super fun prize for this panel. We're giving away a set of Arium books, which is TTRPG books. Sorry, we have a little human in here with us. A set of TTRPG books so that you can play some role-playing games as well. So be sure to donate this panel so that you can be entered in the raffle prize for that Arium book. I'm going to add in Marlee and Lindsey.
Hi!
Hello!
Welcome to Cutscenes and Cupcakes Live. We're so stoked to be doing this. We're super stoked to be talking about one of our old favorite games, which is
God of War.
That was beautiful. I feel like we need our theme music. Should we do our own?
I've got it ready.
Oh, I was gonna say we should do our own mouth version of it, but yeah,
I knew you were gonna say that, so I pulled up the real thing.
Oh, thank goodness.
Welcome.
Did you hear that at all?
Oh, definitely.
It was super loud, huh?
Parts of it.
Oh, okay. I couldn't tell because there was like a delay in the dancing, and I was like, "Oh, they can't hear it."
No, we heard it.
Okay.
No, I was just delayed in my dancing.
Oh, okay. Well, we didn't do a sound check, obviously, but next time, maybe.
We're professionals here.
Oh,
we always are.
We've been podcasting now for what? A little bit over 2 years?
Yeah. I'd say 2.5.
That's crazy. We're really cool.
We are really cool. That is what makes a person cool, is how long their podcast is going.
Doesn't matter if the podcast is good.
That's longevity of it.
So, like, Lin-Manuel Miranda's not cool yet because he hasn't made a podcast yet. So, we've got coolness points over him right now.
Yes. Yes, we do.
That's a huge lie. Lin-Manuel Miranda is the coolest. And Stephanie agrees with me, but she can't say so.
Miranda is very cool and weirdly attractive.
He's just attractive.
Not weirdly.
I've gotten over the weirdly part. He's just
adorable. We are so excited to talk about God of War. We did a God of War episode. Oh,
it was early on. It was, I believe that was our first season.
Yeah.
I want to say so too. However, before we dive into God of War, we're going to do some not sponsors first, just like old times.
Yeah. Yeah, this is the segment that we normally do in our podcast. It's just kind of a fun way for people to kind of like get to know us a little bit more. And it gives us a chance to kind of give a special shout out to something that maybe in the last few weeks or so has just made us happy or we're into or just whatever it is. So for those of you who don't know, that's what that is.
I need everyone to know that Aaron thinks we're cool.
We are cool.
We are cool.
So
gosh, dang it.
Marlee, why don't you start us off on our not sponsors?
Okay. So this time I chose a podcast. And it's called Dark Air by Terry Carnation. And it's actually a podcast that Rainn Wilson, he played Dwight in The Office. He's in a lot of other things, but that's what he's most known for. He created this character named Terry Carnation. I don't really know totally where it started, but I actually first heard that character featured in a different podcast called Radio Rental. And then I think everyone loved that character so much and he still wanted, he loved it and he probably wanted to go on and do more with it. And so he created this podcast called Dark Air, and he plays a radio host. And the people callers come on and kind of talk about like supernatural experiences that they've had and just kind of spooky, weird, odd things, aliens, ghosts, whatever it is. And it's just really entertaining. I would definitely say it's not for kids. So just keep that in mind. It's I think it's PG-13 at least, if not higher, but it is a really, really enjoyable podcast. Rainn Wilson is just also like his character. He's just, as Terry Carnation, he's just really quirky, and it's a totally different side. Cause yes, I think a lot of people really loved Dwight from The Office. But you kind of get this other side of Rainn Wilson and some of the capabilities and skills that he has as an actor and voice actor. So it's just a really cool podcast. I highly recommend it.
Well, I'm interested to check that out because I honestly, I haven't seen him in much other than The Office, mainly because my taste in movies is slim. Meaning that I'm not exposed to a lot. I'll watch whatever, but I just don't get a chance to watch a lot. But so I'd like to see this different side of him.
Yeah, I'm not a huge Office fan, so it might be interesting to see him in something else other than The Office.
Yeah, and it's just kind of a fun. I mean, it's all like nonfiction. I mean, not nonfiction. It's all fiction, obviously. So it's just kind of like a step into another world kind of thing. So yeah.
For some reason, I'm envisioning Limetown, but that's probably not what it's like.
Oh, I never gave Limetown.
I don't know Limetown.
It's like one of the OG podcasts, like serial. Like it's a story. It's a serial story.
It's about a reporter, and so she'll come and record her notes about the case. And then you'll hear stuff in the background that's kind of spoopy, like someone banging on the door.
Yeah.
It's fun.
Yeah, it actually is kind of like a lot like that. Like it's just, yeah.
Cool.
The production is really well done, for sure.
Nice.
Who's next?
And there's also a bunch of other other celebrities who pop in as guests and stuff for their characters. Anyways, go on.
Lindsay.
Okay. I did Nose Goes, but I'll go.
Oh, okay.
Because that's what Nose Goes means, right?
Yeah.
So I picked a TV series called Staged. It's put on by the BBC. You may have heard me talk about it the past few weeks. It's with David Tennant and Michael Sheen. Not Martin Sheen, not Charlie Sheen, Michael Sheen. They make that joke too, which I think is funny. But it's about two actors in the middle of in the height of the pandemic, and they don't really know what to do with themselves. So them and their friendship gets kind of listless. They have tons of voice actors and guest appearances, and not voice actors. Sorry, I'm in gaming mode. They have tons of guest actors and appearances, and it's fun. It's fun to see the people who they got and how they work them into the story. And it's such a creative little story because it all takes place over Zoom because they don't want to, risk seeing each other. So it's been fun. I finished it again last week, I think. I finished the second season again, and it is just... Josh Gad plays a part in it, and he is hysterical. I just want to give shout-outs to him.
I love Josh Gad so much.
Oh, it's on Hulu.
Oh, Hulu.
Yeah.
I want Josh Gad to be my best friend. So I guess I should watch this and listen to your advice.
Yes, because he is my best friend.
My not a sponsor is something I've slept on for a hot minute, and now that I finally have a lot of time because I've been on maternity leave, I've been able to watch it and put some time into it, and it is The Crown, Netflix original TV show. It's really good. It's it's about the royals in England, and it's really interesting because I feel like I started watching it right after Prince Philip died, and I didn't really know who the heck Prince Philip was, and then this show has helped me see who he was a little bit better.
So it's fun and educational.
Yes. Prince Philip is played by Matt Smith. And he does really well, but it's kind of funny. I mean, I don't know Matt Smith super well, although I do know he was the Doctor. But he plays a dick. Like, Prince Philip is a little bit of a douchebag in this. He is. Like, you know it's true, Marlee.
I mean, he's put in a really difficult position. He's doing the best he can with what he has.
It's all like a dramatic, like, it's just like there's so much drama and there's so much like real feelings coming out. So I guess it's not that he's a dick, it's that he has a lot of hard choices and is put in a hard decision.
And just wait till season, I think it's 3 and 4, or is it 4 when they kind of skip time skip and then change actors? The guy who plays Prince Philip is the bad guy in Outlander.
Yes, so that happens in season 3 because I just started like season 3, episode 1 yesterday.
And it's so weird because like seeing him in Outlander and he's like this awful, terrible human, and then now he's like this other character. It's just like, I can't see him as anybody else besides Captain Randall. I'm sorry.
Oh, that actor, he's definitely pigeonholed as Captain Randall.
He's really a good actor, though. Anyways,
so yeah, it's been great. Helena Bonham Carter is in the 3rd season, which is fun. I love Helena Bonham. But The Crown, I mean, it's kind of a long, dry period piece. Not dry, but it's a period piece, so it isn't like a super like actiony. It's, but it's really good. So if you need a TV show, check that out. Check out Staged. Check out, remind me what your podcast was called, Marlee.
Dark Air.
Dark Air. So not sponsors, but if you want us to, we will definitely talk more about you guys. If you want to contact us.
Yeah, if the price is right.
If the price is
right.
Hulu. What is the price? What would the right price be?
We'll discuss it with them when they contact us for a meeting.
Some pizzas and some cupcakes and we'd be set.
I mean,
you're not wrong, but we might want to discuss our terms with our network. I mean, if
it's Netflix or Hulu, I want free membership for life.
That is true.
Is that too much to ask? Just kidding. Should we dive in?
Yes.
I think we should dive in.
I absolutely think we should dive in. So, without further ado, let's dive in.
Yay.
Do you want me to read the thing on God of War, or is that like too much of a weird?
No, do it. Do it.
God of War is an action-adventure game developed by Santa Monica Studio and Sony, released worldwide in 2018 for PlayStation. It is the 8th installment, 8 people, of God of War series. It's 8 and the 8th chronologically. The sequel to God of War 3. Unlike previous games, which were loosely based on Greek mythology, this installment is rooted in Norse mythology, with the majority of it set in Scandinavia in the realm of Midgard. So, let's see here. We start out the game with Kratos and then soon joined by Atreus, his son. And we don't know much about his wife. We all just kind of think like, who is this freezer woman that is his wife? Like, we need to know who she was and her, who was good enough to marry Kratos. But, events turn and we finally find out who that is. And
sorry, my mic just like cut out.
Oh, I was wondering. I did see several technical issues, so I just kept talking, which is what I do best.
Can you hear me now? We're good?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Okay, sorry.
So yeah, we get a lot of interesting sides of Kratos in this installment of God of War. Before he's just kind of beefy man, all rage. He has his motivations. He has his
revenge
reasons and his revenge, but we don't get this side of him that he is wanting to do good as a father. We don't get a lot of the things that we see, and it's just, I think we get a very 3-dimensional Kratos. And I don't know. I think there's a lot that this game has to offer that the previous games did not discuss.
We had a panel a little bit earlier about like the future of gaming, and we talked a lot about narrative. And I think that this game is kind of, I don't want to say it's like a change, or a turning point, but I do think it has a different narrative than the previous games.
For sure. And I think for me as well, I mean, yeah, I might not have really started or like really gotten into my like gamer, I guess, chapter of my life really until I had a PlayStation 4. So I really didn't get to personally experience these previous God of War games. I kind of watched God of War 3 played a couple of times, but not enough to like really like, yeah, I thought it was cool. And like, I love Greek mythology, Roman mythology. Like I love all that setting. But it really wasn't until this game, and especially just hearing all the hype around it, mostly from our own friends. And then also just like, it's a beautiful game. Like I really appreciate good graphics in a game. And so just kind of those couple of elements drew me to it.
Yeah.
And so I'm like, you know what? I want to give this a shot. Like I want to see what this whole thing is about. And yeah, maybe there's some people who can say that we maybe don't totally appreciate the God of War franchise as much as we should because we haven't played those previous games. But like, I don't think you have to though. Like, I don't think you do. You know, there's definitely more that you can appreciate from those games without having to go all the way back to the beginning. I'm sure the same thing can be said about like even the Resident Evil franchise. I think a lot of people are jumping onto it kind of now, especially with the latest couple of games being so good, you know? So I think it just kind of, it doesn't matter. Just be a fan and have fun with it, no matter where you jump into the story.
And don't say that somebody who jumps in late isn't a fan, aka me with like Hamilton. I was a little late to the party, but Stephanie convinced me to listen, and here we are.
You were late to the party on Hamilton?
Oh yeah, okay, there we go.
I didn't even watch it until it came on Disney Plus last year.
That's fair. And I don't think a lot of people did. But that doesn't make you any less of a fan or any less passionate about what you have seen.
Well, I think that kind of brings up a good point even about God of War is accessibility. Because, I mean, God of War started, I think the first game was on PlayStation 2.
Yeah, I think it was PlayStation 2.
So how is one supposed to play it? I don't think any of the games have been remastered yet. So unless you have a PlayStation 2 or a PlayStation 3 and a Playstation 4 at your disposal, how are you supposed to play the previous games? I mean, you can watch people play, you can Twitch, simulate,
emulators, but
well, and also you, I could say the same thing kind of about you guys too, because we're pretty much the same age, but like at the time when those games were coming out on PlayStation 2 and 3, I was not old enough to play God of War, you know, because God of War is not for kids. It's definitely not a kid game. It's very violent. And the games I was allowed to play when I was younger and had a PlayStation 2 was Dance Dance Revolution, if that tells you anything.
That says a lot, Marlee. No, I'm just kidding. It says the exact same thing as like most people our age.
Yeah, I wasn't allowed to. It was just way too mature for my age.
Yeah. But yeah, since we're respawning this episode, I just kind of had a question for you guys to see what you thought. In like Marlee, you, for example, replayed God of War 2018, probably more recently than me and Steph. But when you replayed it, did you learn anything? Like, did you pick up anything that you hadn't before? Because I feel like this is one of those games that like the second time I replayed it, I was like, oh my gosh, that's right. Oh, this. And then you kind of have in mind some of the things at the end that you learn, some of the spoilers. Prepare yourselves. We are talking about them.
This game has been out for 3 years. Come on.
Yeah.
You know, I'm trying to think if there's any specifics, but I think my biggest takeaway from playing it a second time around was just that I appreciated it a ton more. The first time we played it, we were playing with a big group of friends. I don't think I even actually touched the controller once, which is partly my own fault because I didn't really ask for like
I think Brian and Blake would beg to differ, but they're not on this panel.
And I was curious about the game, and I kind of just wanted to just watch. I was just more comfortable watching. But then the second time around, I was like, you know what? I've progressed as a gamer, that's for sure, and I feel more comfortable trying something new. And so I did the playthrough with my boyfriend because he had never played it either, so he didn't know all the spoilers. So I had to be quiet, and not spoil anything because I knew what was going to happen at the big reveal at the end. But I think, again, I really appreciated it more. I was able to soak in the world and just, again, those amazing graphics and the combat capabilities and like the cool weapons, the cool armor, and just all the fun upgrades that you can do. And even the two side characters, the brothers, the ones who do like the armor. Oh my gosh, we should have looked this up.
No, I know them. Hang on.
No, what are their names?
It's like Moby and Mopey. That's not it. Hang on, I will.
But anyways,
it's Modi and Mag. No, that's the Modi and Magni are the brothers of
Thor's sons.
Baldur.
Those are the sons of Thor.
The sons of Thor. That's right. But we are talking about.
I'm talking about the dwarf brothers,
Brock and Sindri.
Yes.
There
okay,
we
thank
go.
you. Man, I did not come prepared. I'm so sorry. Again, just kind of being around those characters again, it was so fun to just oh, there's Brock. Oh, there's Sindri. You're just I know these characters already. And it's just kind of fun to be reintroduced to them because they're actually really entertaining. And they say some of the snarkiest things in that game. And you have to pay attention.
They are very, very witty. And that's something I also appreciated about my second playthrough is Brock and Sindri. And Sindri is the one that is super squeamish and always throwing up and disgusted by blood. And I think about him almost every day. And I'm not making this up because I take out the trash at work and I have had a dry heaving problem lately. So I'll just be as I drop the trash in and I'm just like Sindri.
Oh my goodness.
But yeah, it's been so fun to replay and see these characters again and appreciate them. Steffers?
I was going to throw up Colin's comment that says, one of the things I love about the latest God of War was no load screens between each section. Everything was smooth transitions. You never had to wait to get to the next point. First game to my knowledge to do that with graphics.
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely. And it's so good. Sorry, it's so good that I didn't even realize it was happening.
Yeah.
It's such a smooth transition. You don't even realize, oh wait, there was no load screen. At least for me, I had no idea. Until I was reading more about this game again, and I'm like, oh yeah, it doesn't have load screens.
Yeah, you're just waiting for the Bifrost to do its thing, and it's so pleasing to watch that you're here we go, And it's not. I mean, there's games that have kind of tricked you before. I'm looking at Mass Effect because I'm replaying it, and they have the elevators where you're in the elevator and it's loading, and it just plays elevator music and the teams talk to each other, but it's actually much smoother than that because after 5 minutes in an elevator in silence, you're okay, let the game load,
Wasn't this game released with the PlayStation 4 when it was released?
No,
it wasn't. Okay.
PlayStation 4 came out in 2013.
Okay.
So this is end of the console generation.
Well, because it is. It's not only is it the load screens, but also the graphics are so amazing in this game. This is really kind of where I think PlayStation is doing a step up with their gaming. They're
for sure.
Going towards beautiful graphics plus amazing gameplay.
Well, and it won Game of the Year that year in 2018.
It did, and for dang good reason.
Yeah, and it was up against a lot of really good contenders. It also won Best Game Direction, and I'm trying to skip through this really quick. And it got the Best Action Adventure Game too of the year. And because I remember watching the Game Awards this year for this year 2018, and I just remember looking at the it was up against for Game of the Year. It was up against Assassin's Creed Odyssey, Celeste, Marvel Spider-Man, Monster Hunter World, and Red Dead Redemption 2.
Oh,
And
yeah.
I think especially with Red Dead, it was very neck and neck. Because Red Dead won a lot of different categories as well. And so I think once they got to the end, like it was like, it could be anybody. It could be either, or I mean, it could be either one. Who knows? And then it ended up being God of War, which is very deserving, but also I mean, Red Dead is still very deserving of the nomination.
PlayStation has a way of doing that, or the Game Awards have a way of doing that. Last year, I think Last of Us 2 and Ghost of Tsushima, all those are very neck and neck.
Yes, that is very true. That is very, very true.
It's been a good couple years for gaming. Can we
okay.
Sorry, go ahead.
No, you.
Okay. I was just saying we really need to dive into how the voice actors and the soundtrack and the soundscape of the game are, because those are things I think were also in the runnings, if not one Game of the Year awards. But yeah, they're just so good, you guys.
Christopher Judge as Kratos.
He nailed it.
Yes.
Yeah, Christopher Judge. Fun fact, I have met him.
I know, lucky you.
I know. I was thinking about that. How you and Blake and Brian went to Gaming Con. I think both Lindsay and I were working.
Yeah, I was at work.
It was fair.
It was a very last minute decision too, and we're like, "Hey, let's go!" And like Brian and Blake, like they really wanted to go because there actually were a couple other voice actors for God of War. The guy who did Baldur, and then also Freya, not Freya. What is her name?
No, not
Freya. The witch lady, the one in
Freya.
Is it Freya? Okay,
yeah.
And then I think one other person or so. Yeah, I swear there were at least 4 or 5 voice actors that were coming.
Was on Atreus there? The kid that plays Atreus?
I don't think so.
Atreus.
But anyways, I just remember those guys. They were like, oh yeah, we want to go to Gaming Con and we want to see like the panel, because there was supposed to be a panel with all of them on it. And I don't know if I was an afterthought or what, but they were just like, oh hey Mar, do you want to come? And I'm like, actually, yes, I do want to come. And it was way fun. And then our friend Brian was just so excited to meet Christopher Judge because he had a action figure of Kratos that he had him sign.
Was it a Funko Pop?
No, it was not a Funko Pop. But I remember standing there and just like listening to him talk, you're just like, you just get chills because you're just like, oh, that's Kratos.
That's cool.
To make a long story short, it was actually ended up being kind of sad after that because last minute the con changed the time of the panel and it had already happened by the time we got there. And we were so bummed that we missed it, but we were just at least glad that we could at least go talk to Christopher Judge and Brian could get his autograph.
I have the cutest picture of.
Yeah, I took it and then I sent it to all of you.
That makes me so happy, but he probably wouldn't consent to having me show it on air. So we won't do that.
Nolan North and Troy Baker do play Modi and Magni.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
So we get the iconic voice actors there.
Yes. I have a fun fact about that. So that was actually so Troy Baker and Nolan North, obviously they've done a lot of games together. But this was actually the second game where they played characters who were brothers. The first one was Uncharted 4. So they hadn't really done that a lot. I think they a lot of times they play like contending characters or even hero and villain. But yeah, they don't play brothers very often, which is kind of interesting. Fun fact.
That is a fun fact.
And then the music in God of War is just beautiful.
Ooh, isn't it Bear McCreary?
It is Bear McCreary, who has worked on Battlestar Galactica, The Walking Dead, and of course God of War, Outlander. He's a busy guy, and he does a lot of really amazing music that I think is just above and beyond what I expected for this game. And I had high expectations.
Did we do a podcast episode about gaming scores?
I think we did something about it.
Yeah, we did do a side mission. Well, and God of War's soundtrack is one of those soundtracks that is so easy to revisit and just listen to like just in everyday life. Like if you're just like, you know what, I really need some awesome music or beautiful music going on in the background of whatever I'm doing right now. Maybe you're studying or you're at work or something. Put on the God of War soundtrack. It is so good.
It is so good. And it's like, I don't know, Faye's theme that kind of carries through the whole game is just amazing to me, because you'll hear it when they're thinking about her, not necessarily when they're just talking about her or doing something for her. But you'll just hear her theme and you're just like, oh, Faye's there. You know, like it was so well designed and so well put into the soundtrack. I have goosebumps just talking about it because I get so excited about game scores. But not only was the soundtrack great, but the soundscape, like the crunching of the feet in the snow, you know, little things like that, the weaponry, it sounds good. It's very pleasing to listen to and to look at, and the gameplay is fun, you know, like it's just such a good game.
What are the people called who do like the crunching, who make them noises for like movies and games? Foley actors?
Sound actors?
No, I think
Masters?
Foley actors.
Oh, well, those are Foley is, I think, strictly mouth, so it's like kind of, you know, sounds.
No, I think they do like other things too, like anyways,
like crunch leaves and things.
Yeah,
for a
crunch
living.
leaves and do steps. I think that'd be such a fun thing to do, especially like with weaponry and stuff. You just like have to like fight.
Oh, you're right. I just made that up. You're right.
Yeah, I'm
It's a
always
Foley
right.
artist.
You remember that?
Just this once, I will.
Since you brought up Faye, I think that we should definitely talk about the twist at the end of God of War.
Oh, for sure. So Faye is a giant, one of the last remaining, but she is also dead now.
Yes.
Faye is an interesting character. She clearly had great love for her family and this kind of interesting way of uniting them, because, you know, Kratos is the hard-ass dad and Atreus is the caring, soft kid that he is. And Faye's ultimate plan with her death was to say, not that she died for this reason, but just died and then also had this be her will, to reunite them by having them go on this journey together. And it starts out rough. It starts out really rough with Kratos, you know, you're not ready, you know, and you're impatient and you're not ready. You're a horrible child. You know, you can't handle yourself in battle, to that final battle when they work as a team so well. And like, you know, Atreus is jumping off of Kratos' arm and shooting a guy like Legolas. And like, it's just amazing, like the journey that they take together. And that was all Faye's design, you know, her gold handwriting, her gold paintings to guide them where to go and where to step. It's amazing.
Well, and we see this new side of Kratos. You know, we talked about earlier in this, at the top of this episode, where, you know, especially compared to the previous God of War games, like all of a sudden we're seeing a softer side of this big burly man, you know, like now all of a sudden he's, you see him, you can tell that he cares about his son, but it's really not till closer to the end of the game where you're just like, oh my gosh, I am just rooting so hard for these two. And I'm so happy that they are like gaining this relationship together, and you actually get to see it unfold throughout the game. And just to see Kratos in this whole other light.
Yeah.
Well, and I think they do a really good job of making Atreus and Kratos foils of each other, where Kratos is seeing his own weakness in his son and trying to correct it. But that isn't necessarily, you have to correct, but you also need to, like in parenting in general, you see the weaknesses in your kids, but you also see your own weakness in yourself, and trying to merge those things together, not take away from your kid, but also train them to be the person you want them to be. It's not an easy thing. And I think Kratos sees that in his kid, where he's a little bit more sensitive. He's a little bit smaller. And so he wants him to be a powerful warrior, because that's what Kratos knows. But I also don't think Kratos wants to crush like the good parts of him too. And I think Faye probably saw that Kratos needed Atreus and Atreus needed Kratos.
Right. They do have, that's such a beautiful point. They have this like symbiotic relationship of Kratos seeing his own humanity in his son and despising it, and Kratos seeing his godhood in his son and despising it, and then appreciating it at the same time, different aspects. And then, you know, Atreus doing the same to Kratos, but he doesn't know it yet. He doesn't know he's part god until way, way into the game. It gets to the point where I'm ripping my hair out and I'm like, tell him, you know, like it's a discussion you need to have. But it's just so, I don't know. It's such a good story. The characters are so well written.
Well, and kind of talking about Atreus still here, I was actually reading some trivia the other day, just kind of brush up on some like fun facts about God of War that I actually might not have known previously. And even just playing through it again, your eyes are kind of opened up to these little things. So again, one of the big reveals at the very end of the game is that Atreus is, I mean, he's Loki essentially. Mm-hmm. And actually throughout the game, they give you little tiny clues. And so like if you're well versed in Norse mythology, you should have picked up on this. Actually, it's actually really interesting. So I'm going to share a couple of those things. The first one is being his mom being named Faye, and because Loki's mother is also known as Laufey in Norse mythology, and so Faye is like a shortened form of Laufey. So that's kind of one little clue. Another one is during some of their conversation.
How would you know that?
By being smart, which I'm not.
I know. Hey, but sometimes
not in this realm.
Another one is Atreus asks Kratos if he can change into an animal, which Loki is known to be a shapeshifter. Oh. Another one is that the world snake, Jormungandr, there's actually a moment where he takes it. I'm reading off of IMDb, by the way. He takes a brief but keen look at Atreus, which is interesting because in the Norse myth, Jormungandr is Loki's child. So they have that connection as well. And then another one.
Norse mythology is wild, man.
Like, hey, daddy.
Because even Loki's supposed to be born from a horse as well.
Yeah. And then one more thing. And then another one that's related to the game is that, so Atreus takes away Baldur's invulnerability with a mistletoe arrow. So he kind of uses that, those herbs there, and that's what enables him to finally be beaten and killed. And then again, in Norse mythology, Baldur was slain with a mistletoe arrow by Loki. So it's like, we should have known.
Well, I mean, yes, it was an accident though, because remember he had used that arrow to patch up Loki's equipment. And he's like, we take care of our things. We don't just, let it be disintegrating. And then they throw away the arrows because Freya freaks out. Like, those are going to kill my child. They're evil. And then he just had that one left. And what a great twist. What great writing for that to be there. Just kind of as a Chekhov's gun of just like, we don't know that this is going to be useful, but it turns out to be like very key, and just because it's there, it's going to be used to kill someone. Like, it's cool. I geek out about these things.
Writing. I think you love to see that type of thing when you're reading a book, and so it's really fun that they bring in those types of little Easter eggs in video gaming too.
Well, and it shows that they've done their research, just like with an author, does in books. It's awesome to see the level of research that goes into even developing these games. I mean, even I think of like Ghost of Tsushima and the game developers and writers there. I mean, they actually went over to Japan and studied things and looked at the landscape and went back and looked in history books. They really wanted to get it as accurate as possible. And obviously Norse mythology is, it's mythology. It's it's as accurate as you're going to get, but it's just the level of research and detail that goes into it. So someone who might be a little bit more knowledgeable or an avid fan of a given thing, it's way fun to be able to find those Easter eggs for sure.
Oh, yeah. And I'm happy you did that research because I didn't know any of that.
Yeah, I didn't either.
I'm very limited in Norse mythology in that, like, I've seen the movie Thor. I watched some of Vikings. And that's about it. Like, so it's cool to like learn this stuff, and it's even better to learn it from one of my favorite mediums, which is a video game.
Mm-hmm.
If you haven't watched Vikings, by the way, watch it just for Justin Fimmel. He's very pretty.
Yes. Another fun kind of, while we're talking about mythology, it's interesting. The game makers actually considered an entirely different mythology as a setting instead of Norse. Do you guys know what that was originally?
No.
Egyptian.
Oh,
that would be cool. That could be fun, a fun direction for God of War to go into.
That is interesting.
I would love that. And it'd also be really cool to see them going like some more like Eastern cultures as well. Like it would be cool to see. I know we just had Ghost of Tsushima, but like how awesome would that be to get a God of War in like Japan or China or even in some of those other like the islands down there? Like how awesome would that be?
Well, I wonder if they didn't, because Assassin's Creed Origins had come out the previous year, and that is set in Egypt, if I'm not wrong. Right?
Maybe. You know Assassin's Creed better than me and Steph do.
One of them is set in Egypt. Origins and Odyssey get me mixed up, but I'm pretty sure Odyssey is Roman, Greek, or Greco-Roman, and then Origins is Egypt. So I wonder if they decided also like, okay, let's try to do something a little different. Let's do Norse. We can have these settings. We can have like entire worlds be levels. You know, how perfect was that to get set up?
Well, I was going to compare it to, Assassin's Creed, where it is really, they're able to change it up and make it do like different regions, the same as Assassin's Creed does, which I think is really cool.
Yeah, I think it is cool. I'd love to work I'm not really into the gaming industry, really. I don't really know if I ever want to work on a game, but if I did, I'd want to work on a series that had that creative power to just be like, okay, let's venture into something new. Always.
Well, do we think, obviously we know that the next God of War is called Ragnarok. So we know it's going to be Norse mythology, but do you guys think that they're going to maybe venture into a different realm, maybe by accident, or they're like, hey, we need to get away from Thor because he's going to kill us. And so they escape into a different, totally different world. I don't know. Do you guys think that could happen, or do you think they're going to stick with Norse?
I imagine they'll stick with Norse, but I'm always happy to be proved wrong with this kind of thing.
I think they'd have to take a lot of creative liberties to change it to a different mythology. Yeah, which they could totally do, but I feel like they kind of set it up so that it would be a continuation of Norse mythology. But Assassin's Creed, I don't think they're going to end anytime soon. I think they may change main characters. It might not be Kratos anymore. It could be Atreus or someone else taking over the titular character.
I actually was just reading how they kind of wanted to do away with Kratos. They were like, oh, this character is, he's kind of seen his day and his story has run its course, but they ended up keeping him and deciding that he would have to learn to control his violence and rage.
Well, I'm glad they did, because Papa Kratos is great.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Papa Kratos. Would that be like the ultimate ending for Kratos, is that he can finally die and be back with his family who he lost in the first God of War game?
And Faye.
But yeah. I remember the TV commercial for the first God of War game. I don't know if it was, but where you see his family die and then you see all the ashes go onto him. And I didn't play the game, but it's so captivating. Yeah. So the idea that he'll be able to be with his family again.
So
well,
do you
then at
guys-
the end, we see, Kratos dying on that mural.
yeah.
And he just kind of like lifts it, looks at it, and is just like, okay. And like,
So do you guys think that's what's going to happen in the next one?
I think so.
I could totally see Kratos dying.
maybe. I mean, we had one hell of a foreshadow for it. We just don't know when it's going to come.
Yeah, it could be like a Last of Us Part 2 thing where he dies early on.
Yeah, I was
And
just
then
thinking
you
that.
have
I'm like,
to-
this is like Joel all over again. We
And
have
then
like
you have
a sequel
to-
that we
you
know
have
the
to
main
play
character's
the-
going to die.
Yeah, you have to play the rest of the game as like the person that's his son. It'd probably be, I'm sure it would switch to Atreus.
Yeah.
And you get to play him as the main character, and then maybe there is some sort of like revenge plot. I don't know, or maybe not. Just to kind of get that out of the way, so that now the focus can kind of be on Atreus and his development as a character. I hope they do a time skip. I hope he's not still a silly little boy. I hope he's a little bit more mature.
Yeah.
He is pretty whiny. He is pretty
Yeah,
like
he matures
teeny.
quite a bit over like he goes through his little like teenager whiny, like I'm a god, I can do whatever I want phase. But after that, he becomes cool and he seems more like an 18-year-old to me than like a 12-year-old where he started at. Hard to say.
Do we,
Erica, same mind. It's because I always think about Last of Us.
do we ever get to play Atreus in God of War? No.
No,
You kind of
really-
command him. You're just like, shoot that guy. And then he's
Yeah.
like, I'm not ready.
Well, and you do have to keep an eye on him and like make sure that he does like bad guys don't kill him. So you do kind of have like he's not just an NPC that's just kind of just chilling there, like waiting for stuff to happen. Like you actually have to be like, oh my gosh, I need to make sure he's not dying.
Well, and it would be interesting to play Atreus because the game mechanics would be totally different from Kratos, who's such a heavy.
Do you think he'll get to use the Chaos Blades? Or even
Atreus?
the Leviathan axe? Oh, that would be cool.
I feel like the Leviathan axe is as big as Atreus. So
Well,
I
that's
don't know.
fair.
He's gonna grow up. He's
I
gonna
don't know how
get
that
bigger.
will work out.
He's like half god, so he's gonna get bigger, right?
Yeah, that's
Half
what that
giant.
means.
Half
Yeah.
god, half
What if-
giant.
What if, since Thor's kids are in it, he gets Mjolnir on somehow?
Well,
We did see Mjolnir in
He killed Thor's kids. Kratos did, remember? So it'll be Kratos, or I'm sorry, it'll be Thor in the. Are you talking about in the next game?
Yeah, in the
Yeah.
next game.
Yeah.
If
Oh,
he kills
that would be
Thor in the next game, will he inherit Mjolnir?
Hmm.
Is he worthy? That is the question.
Yeah, that would be worthy. Yeah.
There's so much. I'm so excited. I don't think we even have a release date yet for Ragnarok, do we?
Oh,
Googling
wasn't it
it.
supposed to be sometime this year? Which I
It's
just
been
doubt
announced,
going to
but I don't know if
happen.
the exact date has been announced.
It's supposed to be 2021. But I guess I wouldn't be surprised if they push it a little more.
It does look like it's been delayed.
One of the headlines says God of War Ragnarok release date conspicuously absent from the latest PS5 news.
That's fair. Yeah, that tracks. That's a fair headline.
Well, and honestly, I guess we talked about this in a previous panel as well. I think I actually would be okay if they delayed it. If they're still working on things, if they're still trying to develop some things, take your time. Like we
agree.
want a complete and amazing game. We don't
Don't
want
me pay to be your beta tester. I feel
Yeah.
so strongly about that.
Yeah, totally.
So yeah, if they take their time and it ends up being 2022, I'll be happy to wait for it.
So in lieu of a rating, did you guys want to do rating? I don't think we need to do rating. We love this game.
We did it.
We
It's
love
fine.
it. But and so in lieu of a rating, let's answer the question. Especially once we get a release date for Ragnarok, are you guys gonna play God of War again just to kind of refresh and get ready for the next one? Are you guys gonna play through that game again?
When a release date is announced, yes.
I think that's fair.
Or when
I
it's
should
getting
replay it.
close.
I've only played it the one time, so I should replay it.
I'm going to do it again. I actually I think I've thought about it a couple of times lately and I'm like, I kind of want to just pick up God of War, but I think I want to wait. I want to wait until we have a release date and then get really excited and pumped about it.
Mm-hmm. I like it.
agree.
Well, we'll have to do that together.
Colin gives it 5 chocolate covered pretzels.
That's really good, Colin.
There's got to be some good pretzels.
Like little tiny pretzels or big, like long pretzels?
Like not the ones you can get for $1, the flips ones at the grocery store. Those are good though. But I'm talking like gourmet, good chocolate covered pretzels.
Now I'm getting hungry.
I know.
I'm getting thirsty.
Oh, goodness.
Well, I think that we do have to bring this to an end. I did want to announce the winner of our raffle prize. If you guys will give me a drum roll. What was that?
A drum roll. It's just a different kind of drum.
Howler Pod won the
Howler
Arium Bud.
Pod!
So,
Yay!
friends of the pod that
Ren
we
and
love.
Aaron.
Yes.
They joined us on our Red Rising panel a couple nights ago. That was so much fun.
Yeah, they were super great. So I'm excited that they won. Like on all episodes, we did not practice this beforehand, but you guys should grab a friend.
Eat some cupcakes.
And play some video games.
Thank you for watching. Thank you for everyone who's donated. We have so much coming up next week. And we have so many more things to give away. And we have and you can still donate.
Yeah.
So
Guys,
please
go
do.
donate. This is a super worthy cause, and it's something that I think affects us or someone we know. So let's kick its butt.
Yeah, let's do what we can to help out. So thank you guys for watching.
Bye.
Bye.